The dark web was an enigma, a digital underworld where anonymity reigned supreme. It was a haven for illicit activities, a place where one could buy anything from stolen credit cards to hitman services. But among the myriad of illegal marketplaces and forums, one website stood out, whispered about in hushed tones. The Dark Network. This sinister site connected serial killers worldwide, providing a platform for them to share their darkest secrets, trade tips, and even compete in twisted contests. It was a place where the macabre met the meticulous, and death was celebrated as an art form. John Smith sat in his dimly lit basement, the glow of his computer screen casting eerie shadows on the walls. He had just returned from one of his hunts, as he liked to call them. The thrill of the kill still buzzed through his veins. As he sipped his coffee, a notification popped up on his screen. It was an encrypted message, the kind that required several layers of decryption to access. Intrigued, John set to work, his fingers dancing across the keyboard. The message was simple but chilling. "You have been selected. Join us on the Dark Network." He followed the instructions, navigating through a labyrinth of encryption until he reached the hidden site. In Eastern Europe, Lena Kovač received the same invitation. For her, this was an opportunity to showcase her work to an appreciative audience. Lena's murders were brutal yet artistic, each one a gruesome tableau. She eagerly joined the network, ready to prove herself. John's eyes widened as the website loaded. It was a minimalist design with a black background and red text. The homepage featured a list of recent posts, each one a detailed account of a murder, complete with photos and commentary. John scrolled through the posts, a sense of camaraderie washing over him. Here, among these anonymous users, he had found his tribe. Lena's reaction was one of excitement. She had always felt like an outsider, her gruesome art unappreciated by the world. But here, she was among kindred spirits. She quickly created an account, adopting the username Red Mistress. The first virtual meeting was a tense affair. Serial killers from around the world gathered in a secure chatroom. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of curiosity and mistrust. The administrator addressed them, his voice disguised by a modulator. "Welcome to the Dark Network. Here, you are among peers. Share your stories, learn from each other, and above all, enjoy the hunt." John, using the alias Raven, and Lena, as Red Mistress, quickly stood out. John for his calculated approach, and Lena for her artistic flair. They exchanged tips, but beneath the surface, a rivalry began to brew. One day, the administrator announced a contest. The most creative murder will be rewarded handsomely. The game is on. This declaration ignited a fierce competition. John and Lena, driven by their need for recognition, pushed their limits. John planned his next murder with surgical precision, leaving cryptic clues that taunted law enforcement. Lena, on the other hand, created a macabre masterpiece. Her victim posed in a grotesque yet captivating display. John's target was a wealthy businessman with a penchant for philanthropy. He studied his prey, learning his routines, weaknesses, and fears. The murder was swift and silent. John left behind a riddle, challenging the police to catch him. Lena's next victim was a young artist. She abducted him, taking him to an abandoned warehouse. There, she transformed his final moments into a gruesome art installation. Her work was both horrifying and mesmerizing, gaining her a morbid following among the network's members. In Spain, Inspector Amelia Ruiz was poring over case files. A recent string of murders had caught her attention. Each crime scene was meticulously arranged, the work of a methodical mind. As she examined the evidence, a clue emerged that led her to the Dark Network. Posing as a potential recruit, Ruiz infiltrated the site. She spent hours in the chat rooms, gathering information and building her case. Her goal was clear: bring down the network and its members. As the contest reached its peak, the administrator revealed himself. He was a former law enforcement officer who had turned rogue after witnessing too much human depravity. His true motive was to eliminate the serial killers by turning them against each other. The revelation sent shockwaves through the network. Realizing they had been manipulated, John and Lena formed an uneasy alliance. They tracked down the administrator, leading to a tense and deadly confrontation in a secluded location. In the end, they managed to kill the administrator, but not without sustaining injuries themselves. The network was exposed and dismantled. John and Lena, now infamous, went on the run. A global manhunt was launched, with Inspector Ruiz leading the charge. She was hailed as a hero, but her mission was far from over. In the final twist, it was revealed that the dark network, though dismantled, had already begun to reform under a new name. The dark web's sinister connections continued to thrive, hinting that the cycle of horror was far from over. Lena and John, now fugitives, faced a new reality: adapt or be caught. Their journey through the shadows was far from over, and new players were ready to take the stage. The hunt, in its own dark way, would never truly end.